Hey, and welcome back to another YouTube video. I appreciate every single person here that's watching. If you're new here, my name is Enes and I've been trading stocks and options for the last 5 years now, and the point of this channel is to share everything that I've learned and continue to learn along the way. Let's get started. In this video, I'm going to attempt to explain why traders have a hard time holding onto a winning position and why they have a hard time getting out of a losing position. It all goes back to ego. So to start off with one side, let's talk about the loss. So most of us are, before we enter a trade, we're at zero, meaning the account is not green, it's not red. Our P&L at the beginning of the day, our profit and loss at the beginning of the day is zero. Now let's start with the idea of your down money, right? You enter a trade, right? You buy a call, you buy a put, or you buy some shares, doesn't matter. Now let's say after a couple of minutes, now you're down $200, but you didn't sell yet. You're still holding the position. But let's say your plan was to sell when you're down $200 and it's time to sell, but you say, nah, I'm gonna wait a little bit. And it's very hard to sell the position most of the time, and it's we'd rather hold on and wait for it to come back, either break even at zero or maybe even make us some money and we make $200 instead, right? And that's the case most of the time. And our brain cannot even think about the idea that we can be down 400 or maybe even 600 as time passes. We can't even imagine that. All we can see is, okay, it's going to come back, it's going to bounce. We only look for the reasons that it's going to bounce, right? Assuming that you're playing a long side, like the bullish side, a call, or you're buying the shares. Now, why is that the case? The reason that we can't imagine that we'll be down 400 or 600 as we're down $200 is because, first of all, losing money is a painful situation. So whenever the human is in a painful situation, the brain activates something called a pain avoidance mechanism. And I got this from Mark Douglas, author of Trading in the Zone. If you haven't read that book, I highly recommend it. So pain avoidance mechanism is basically what happens in your brain. It wants to avoid all kinds of pain. So if you're down $200 right now, your brain is not going to be thinking about all the reasons the stock could keep going down. It's only going to be thinking about the reasons that it could actually go up, right? And it does that because it's painful to be in the losing position, so it doesn't want more pain. So to protect yourself, your brain just does not even consider that it could get even worse, right? Always remember, it could always get worse, okay? It could always get worse. So the ego's way of protecting you is by holding a losing position. Because think about it like this. If you're down $200, right? If you sell, then boom, you take that hit. Bam, that you get hurt, right? But if you hold, there's a chance that it's going to come back and you break even and maybe even make some money. Your brain doesn't even see the possibility at this point that it can keep going down because of the pain avoidance mechanism that activates as soon as you are in a red trade. And that makes sense because the ego thinks it's protecting it. Like, the ego doesn't want to be wrong. The ego thinks being wrong means that you're going to die because the ego equates being right with surviving. So I have to be right in order to survive, which is why a lot of people are stubborn, because they really feel like if they're wrong, then something bad happens to them, right? Whether it's trading or outside of trading. And the opposite is true. If you start at zero with P&L and then you enter a trade and then you're up $200, what happens is, if you're up $200 in an open position, there's no pain avoidance mechanism that's kicking in, first of all. Your brain is not trying to block out any pain because you're not in a painful situation, you're up money. So your brain picks up everything. And the first thing that your brain picks up is, oh shoot, let me get out before the $200 profit disappears, right? So in both scenarios, the ego is trying to protect you by making you not lose the $200. So to not lose the $200 of loss, you have to hold, right? Technically speaking, and to not lose the $200 of profit, you have to sell. So that's how the brain is operating, and that's why just telling somebody, hey, you just have to cut your losses and you have to let your winners run. Like, really? Could have fooled me. That's like the generic buzzwords, right? Yeah, just cut your losses. But understanding the reasons behind why you're not cutting your losses and why you're not letting your profits run, why you're not letting your winners run, is the first step to actually doing things the right way. So the only way to get around this is to follow a mechanical system and to know exactly what your strategy is. What makes you get in, what makes you get out. The fact that you're up X amount should not be the reason for you to exit. What if there's so much more room for the stock to keep going and you can put your stop loss in a way where you'll come out green, but the stock can keep going in your favor and you can potentially make more money. So in order to capitalize on the move and on your strategy, you have to place stop losses in place where the reason that you entered is not there anymore. For example, let's say you're already up $200 on the day, right? And then there's a key level right here, and the stock breaks out, goes up, and then you buy here, sell there, you make $200, and then you're out. But let's say it comes back down, and then it's bouncing off your key level, and it's doing something that you believe can make the stock continue to push. So a lot of times people would hesitate, and they're not going to play this because they're already up money, and it's like, I'm good. I'm just gonna come back tomorrow or whatever. But even if this is an A+ setup, it's very hard to take it because you want to protect your profit. You don't want to lose your profit. But ideally, the best case scenario would be to enter here and then put a stop loss under that level, right? Assuming that you are playing, support resistance levels or whatever your strategy is. So the only way to start letting your profits run and to cut your losses is by following a mechanical system, meaning you need to know why you're getting in, why you're getting out, and also completely take out P&L. Like, don't even look at that, right? If you're watching money jump up and down, you're making it way more stressful and it's not going to be as consistent. You need also to cap the loss, which means you need to know if your stop loss gets hit on the chart, you'll be down X amount. That needs to be understood. And if you don't know how to manage risk with options, I'm going to include a link. It should be somewhere up there. So check it out. I think it should be up there somewhere on the top right corner. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you have a video that you'd like to watch or something that you'd like me to talk more about, comment down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll see you on the next video.